From Marvel Comics ripping off One Punch Man to a surprise hidden in the anime's intro, here are 22 secrets you didn't know about One Punch Man, starting with the fact that you can visibly see Saitama lose his hair after he starts training. As Saitama is completing his training regimen in episode 3, you can see parts of his hair falling out, but Saitama's hair isn't the only thing that changed, cause his cape got a major upgrade that nobody noticed. See, back when the manga began, Saitama's cape was actually red, but this caused a huge problem cause he looked like a walking McDonald's billboard. So the author changed his cape from red to white. And since it happened only a few chapters in, most people never realized. Listen, most people know that the creator of One Punch Man also created Mob Psycho. Just look at their main characters. But did you know the creator secretly hid Easter eggs from Mob Psycho in One Punch Man? Like, take a look at this scene of Saitama wearing a Mob Psycho shirt, or this manga panel where a random dude has a shirt with Mob written all over it. But I think the creator decided all these little details weren't good enough because he snuck Mob Psycho's main character into One Punch's manga. But that doesn't mean One Punch didn't return the favor, because if you check out this scene in Mob Psycho's second season, Saitama and Genos are just chilling as background characters. And if you slow down the Mob Psycho opening to 25%, you can see that Reagan has the famous Cape Baldy as his phone wallpaper. I wonder if the creator can sue himself for plagiarism. Well, at number 18, he can definitely sue Marvel because they completely ripped his character off. You see, when Marvel released a comic book in 2016, they had no idea that in just a few short hours, they'd be getting roasted on social media. Instagram posts, tweets, even articles were popping up flaming Marvel. And looking into that comic book, it was easy to see why. It turns out that Marvel made a Saitama-themed superhero, but with way lamer powers. The ripoff controls animals, which is a really dumb power, but not nearly as dumb as Saitama's original design. Cause I bet you didn't know that the creator of One Punch Man designed him poorly on purpose. He's bald, has a dumb expression, and his outfit is a copy of a children's superhero. But the creator made him this way for a reason. He looked around at every other anime and realized they all had one thing in common: a cool looking protagonist. So for One Punch Man, the creator decided to flip the script and make the dumbest looking main character. Now Saitama may look stupid, but he's also stupid strong. He says the secret behind his strength is his daily training, but it's a little more complicated than that. See, his strength actually comes from his will. Because of his unstoppable spirit, he's able to continuously push past his limits, which means that even though he's been working out all his muscles, they're still not as strong as his big brain. And Saitama's strength might be crazy, but Genos' body is way more interesting. Cause this dude Genos has mods. See, when he's not shooting lasers, he has a different set of arms for housekeeping tasks. And these have things like dish dryers and potato peelers built into his hand. But there's more to Genos. Apparently, he has a built-in sleep mode. When he's tired, he just presses the button. And even weirder, if he were to cry, he would cry tears of oil. The dude's a freak. But if we're talking freaky, we gotta go back to the manga's rough draft. Cause at number 14, I bet you didn't know that One Punch Man's original artwork was so bad, they had to hire an artist to fix it up. You see, the creator of One Punch Man never thought his webcomic was going anywhere, so his drawings were less than perfect. But after posting online for 2 years, he was approached by a talented manga artist named Murata who proposed a deal. What if you and I team up to turn your story into a manga? The creator agreed, and together they reached out to a publishing company. But the company didn't think the idea had any merit, so they flat out said no. And that's when the duo came up with a big brain play. What if the company released one chapter of One Punch and one chapter from another story, and whichever did better would be published as an official manga? The publishing company agreed, and when they released the 2 different chapters, One Punch Man went viral. Dang, they must have been shocked. But Saitama, on the other hand, is never surprised. And there's no way you knew that when he's not in a super suit, he's always wearing flip-flops. Most people think this is just a funny detail, but there's a big secret behind Saitama's choice in shoes. He wears flip-flops because they're easy to take off if a fight breaks out. That's a true hero right there. Always ready for battle. But Saitama in sandals definitely isn't as iconic as Saitama in his super suit. Cause even though his super suit looks super stupid, did you know that Saitama actually has a love-hate relationship with it? See, this tailor made the suit by hand and gave it to Saitama as a gift. And at first, Saitama found it embarrassing and wore it under his tracksuit. But over time, he came to love it and began wearing it proudly. Now, a secret I bet One Punch Man probably isn't too proud of is Earth's weird design. Cause in the show, there's no way you knew that it's nothing like our Earth. You see, instead of having 7 continents like us, The show's Earth has one big continent, and instead of having countries, that big piece of land is split into 26 cities. But even if this planet is pretty odd, it gets even weirder if you zoom out. Because if you look closely in episode 7, you can see that the Earth has 4 moons. I guess you gotta have backups when your main character can destroy things in one punch. But it's possible to have too many backups. Because at number 10, there's no way you knew that One Punch Man has replaced its animation team 3 times. See, the first season was animated by Madhouse, the same studio that released bangers like Death Note and Hunter x Hunter. But they decided to leave One Punch Man when they found out that it would take 4 years to release a second season. So the show hired a second animation team called JC Studios, but when the second season was finally released in 2019, fans hated the new art style. I mean, I kinda get it. Saitama's head is way too big in season 2. Fortunately for fans, the next season will be much better because it's been confirmed that MAPPA, the studio behind iconic shows like Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen, will be animating. Whew, we'll finally get our iconic caped Baldy back. But when it comes to iconic, there's nothing that beats video games with One Punch Man Easter eggs. And one of the greatest examples is this guy in Assassin's Creed. Stay away from him because he can defeat anyone in one wallop, which is why he's called the Walloper. There's also an NPC in Borderlands 3 that's literally named One Punch. Just like the previous guy, he can defeat you in one punch, so it's nearly impossible to take him down. And when you combine 2 powers together, the card game Hearthstone grants you an achievement called 2 Punch Man. But it turns out the anime also has tiny references to the artist's favorite video game, Street Fighter. This panel in the manga looks identical to the KO screen in Street Fighter, and Genos' machine gun blow attack is named after a special attack in the 1997 Street Fighter release. Dang, One Punch Man's artist must really love Street Fighter. But I bet you didn't know that he hates this guy, the strongest A-class hero. At one point, Murata hated Sweet Mask so much that he didn't even want to draw him anymore. And in an interview, he revealed his strategy to fix this. If I draw Sweet Mask as handsomely as possible, I think that he might grow on me, and one day, I'll eventually like him as a character. No wonder Sweet Mask is so attractive. Murata is making him hot on purpose. Now, Murata might hate Sweet Mask, but at number 7, we have the one thing he hates more. Elder Centipede, aka Murata's worst nightmare. The monster is so detailed that it takes the artist 4 hours to draw it. For context, a normal page usually takes him an hour to draw. This monster became such a big time waster that Murata hired assistant artists to help him out. He works on Elder Centipede, and the rest of the page is drawn by his assistants. Man, being an assistant for Murata would be an awesome job. Definitely better than Saitama's old job, because back in the day, Saitama used to struggle. As a child, he worked at festivals, and when he turned 18, things didn't get better. He leveled up to a part-time job at a convenience store, but it wasn't enough to pay his bills. And all this was nothing compared to the biggest problem of all, his loneliness. Before he became a hero, Saitama didn't have any friends, and he spent his days playing video games alone. But once the series began, his life started turning around. Genos began paying his bills and doing housework, while Saitama made friends with King, the one person who can beat him at video games. It's good to see that Saitama leveled up in life, but this video also just leveled up. Because at number 5, we have a secret that I guarantee you didn't know. Back in 2017, One Punch's artist decided to have a little fun, and he drew Genos as a girl. And when he posted this sketch on Twitter, fans went insane. Some of them were angry and some of them were happy. But if you're wondering what I'm blurring right over here, I'm gonna reveal it in 3, 2, 1. Boom! It turns out that female Genos wants you to subscribe to the channel, so what are you waiting for? Do it! But seriously, this Twitter post was flooded with angry weebs demanding that he stop messing with the character's original design. But I think they all forgot how bad of an artist the creator used to be. This is Saitama drawn with Murata's help, and this is him drawn without Murata's help. One Punch Man would have probably never been turned into a manga without Murata in the picture. But none of the hate is bothering Murata, and that's because he revealed his very similar trait to Saitama. He doesn't draw for the money or the fame, he just does it for fun. And this sounds suspiciously similar to Saitama, the guy who's a hero for fun. That's just poetic. But what's kind of a joke is number 3. Cause did you know that the idea for Saitama's super suit came from a kid's show? Back in 2009, One, the creator, was working on what would become One Punch Man, but he still needed a main character. And after spending weeks thinking it over, he finally settled on Anpan Man, a popular Japanese kids show. Just look at these two. They're identical. But One didn't just use the design from the kids show, he even took the name. Cause One Punch Man in Japanese is pronounced Wanpanman, while the kids show is pronounced Anpanman. Talk about similarities. But now we gotta talk about the most terrifying character in the anime, Garu. He's a pretty despicable person, but did you know his name is an Easter egg? See, Garu means hungry wolf, and the way he hunts down his enemies shows that he lives up to the name. And if that wasn't enough, his appearance in the fighting tournament is a nice touch because he disguised himself as a wolf. I guess he's always staying true to his nature. But searching for all these secrets led me to one detail that was hidden right in front of our faces. If you go back and watch the very first opening, you'll see this shot of the Earth, and it looks completely normal, right? But if you play the scene in slow motion, something pretty interesting shows up. I don't think I'll find a better secret than that. So if you want more secrets, click this video right here where I share 21 secrets you definitely didn't know about Demon Slayer.